Hi, second graders. I'm Mrs. Nesson, and we are going to keep learning today about subtraction. And you're going to need three things. The most important thing is you're going to need what you already know about place value. And you're also going to need something to write on and something to write with. So I'll give you a quick moment to grab those things. I recently asked my second graders to think about this math question, and I want you to think about it today. So look at this picture and think about 357 minus 136. What would you do to figure that out? Some of you might make a quick sketch of that place value picture and cross out the number you're taking away. So you might sketch 357, and you wouldn't draw all those tiny squares, but you might make a big square for your hundreds and label them 100, and then you might make a line for your tens and label them tens, and you might make dots for your 7 ones, and then you might cross out 100, cross out 30, and then cross out 6 to show the number that you took away. Then you can see from the sketch that you are left with 200s, 20, and 1, and that's 221. Some of you second graders might think about that math question this way. You'd begin with a sketch of 357, but instead of crossing out 136, you might cover it up or change the color. This picture shows 136 in red, and then you see the other part of that number, or the difference between 357 and 136, and that's the green part. So you can see 221 is one part, 136 is the other part, and together they make 357. Some second graders like to split those numbers apart using number trees or number bonds, and that helps them subtract. So if you start with 357 and split that into hundreds, tens, and ones, you can make a little number tree showing 300, 50, and 7, and you can do the same for 100 and 30 and 6. Then your next step is to subtract, but now you have some really friendly numbers. So you can subtract 300 minus 100, and you know that that's 200 in a snap. 50 minus 30, I bet you know that's 20 in a snap. And 7 minus 6 is 1. The last step you have is some pretty easy addition. 200 plus 20 plus 1 is 221. This is a handy way to sketch this problem to make it easier to subtract. Lots of second graders like to use a number line to add and subtract. So you can see this math question modeled on a number line here. We started at 357 and took a big jump backwards of 100, and we know that we land on 257. When you're using a number line, you need to be really sure to number and label your jumps. The next jump you might take backwards is a jump of 30, and you know that you would then land on 227, and then take a big jump of 6 back, and you'd land on 221. Now, second graders, it's your turn. Think about this subtraction problem and make sure you have something to write with. 275 minus 142. Which strategy is your favorite to start with? Talk to an at-home learning partner about ways you might begin to solve this problem. You might want to start by making a sketch. Here's a detailed sketch, but you can just make a large square and label that 100. Make another one for your 200. You can just use lines to show those 7 tens, and you can use dots to show your 5 ones. Now you're ready to cross out the number that you're going to take away. So if we're taking away 142, what are you going to cross out? You've got it. Cross out one of those hundreds and 4 of the tens for 40 and 2. Good for you. Now you just need to count up the total that you have left. You can see that you've got 100 left and 3 tens. I bet you know what that is. And 3 ones. Nice work. You used a sketch to figure out the answer. 275 minus 142 equals 133. Let's think about the same subtraction question, but try another strategy. Let's start with a sketch of 275, and instead of crossing out 142, you could color it a different color or circle it. When you do it this way, you're breaking 275 into 2 different parts. You're showing your 142, and then you can tell what you have left because it's a different color or it isn't circled. Are you ready for another strategy? Let's try a number line. So the first thing you want to do is draw a line and mark the number 275 on the right-hand side of that line. Then you can take a jump backwards of 100 because that's some subtraction that second graders can do in a snap. 275, jump back 100, you're going to land on 175. You can label your number line to look like this one. Now you're ready for your next jump. We need to jump back 40. Some of you might know that in a snap, and you can go ahead and jump back 40 now. But if you don't, we can take smaller jumps of 10. 40 is 4 tens. This is how your number line might look if you choose to jump back 10 4 times. Be sure to label where you land and label your jumps. Now we just need a little jump of 2. When you're finished, you can see all those jumps add up to 142. So we started our number line on 275. We hopped back 142, and we finished on the number 133. Good for you. Let's keep our numbers the same and try another strategy. Let's split those numbers to help us subtract. First, write 275 and split that into how many hundreds, tens, and ones you have. Right next to that, you can write 142 and split that into hundreds, tens, and ones also. Then you'll be ready to subtract. Now you've got some simpler numbers to think about. Look at your hundreds. You've got 200 and you need to subtract 100. That leaves you with 100. Look at your tens now. You've got 70 and you need to subtract 40. I bet you know that. And your ones, you've got 5, you need to subtract 2. Did you put those numbers together to figure out your grand total? I did. It's here in purple. 100 plus 30 plus 3 equals 133. What's your favorite strategy? Or maybe you're ready to try them all. Here's another subtraction problem. 463, you'll probably want to start by making a sketch of that number. And we're going to subtract 341. So take a minute to write down the question, 463 minus 341, and then you'll be ready to try some of your strategies. Here's a reminder about some strategies you can try. You can start by making a sketch. A lot of students like to start there. You can try using a number line. So make a line, and on the far right-hand side, write 463. And then you can try hopping backwards, 341. Maybe you're going to solve this by splitting the numbers into hundreds, tens, and ones. That's a good strategy to make this an easier subtraction problem. Ask your at-home learning partner to check your work. And there's one more way to play. You can ask your at-home learning partner to give you subtraction situations to think about. Here's mine. I had 256 pencils, all sharpened and ready for my class this year. We used 135 of them. How many nice sharp pencils do I have left? That was a lot of hard thinking about subtraction today, second graders. Be sure to share what you've been learning with your teachers because they want to hear from you. Keep up the great learning from home.
Hello, second graders. We're going to continue our learning on subtraction. My name is Mrs. Gessley, and I'm happy to be working with you. And if I use a number line to get there, I might start at the 35 and add up to the 70. So if I start at 35 and I want to go to 70, I'm going to start at 35 and I'm going to add 5 to get to a friendly number. So 35 plus 5 is 40. And then I might look and say, well, what's another friendly number I can get to get me closer to 70? I might actually add 10. So 40 plus 10 is 50. Now I might try to be kind of efficient with my strategies and say how many to get from 50 to 70. I could count by tens, or I might be able to take a big jump at 20 to get to 70. So 70 minus 35, I'm going to count the numbers up here. I have 20 plus 10 plus 5 is 35. So 70 minus 35 is 35. Let's look at our next problem. What about 71 minus 36? What do you think think that is? I'm wondering if we can use some of the problem that we have right now. We're wanting to know 36, so one more to get to 36, to 71. So if we add 1 on both sides, we also have 35. That's sometimes called the constant difference. If I do the same thing on both problems, so I have 70 minus 35 is 35, and then I move up 1, 36 to get to 36, and I do 71 minus 36, my answer is also 35. I wonder if that is also true a different way. Let's take a look. All right, second graders, let's take a look. We started out saying that 70 minus 35 was 35. And then in our last slide, we got to see that 71 minus 36 was also 35. I'm wondering about 69 minus 34. Well, where is 69? It's right here. We take one jump back to get to 69. And from 35 to 34, we take one jump back. So we have again what we call the constant difference, meaning that the same answer, did you get 35? If you did, you were correct. Let's take a look at one more. What about 75 minus 40? Well, if we know that 70 minus 35 is 35, and we know that there's constant difference, what do you think? What do you think is 75 minus 40? Do we add 5 on both sides? What do you think we got for that? If you said 35, you are correct. All right, second graders, let's see if we can use that constant difference idea here to go to maybe a friendlier number that makes it a little easier. So we want to know what 49 minus 152 is. Well, if I want to go to 50 to get to my friendly number, and then here I'm going to go over 1, right, that constant difference to 153. Now my question is, what is 153 minus 50? And is that something you can maybe even do in your head? If we have 153 minus 50, if you got 103, you are correct. All right, let's try this constant difference out one more time. If we have 59 minus 174, what does that get us? And is there an easy way to do it without having to kind of write it all out? Can I say 174 is close to a number that we use sometimes? Is 174 close to 175? And then if we go up a number, do we need to go up a number to the 59 to 60? So what does that get us to? 175 minus 60. Did you come up with 115? If you did, you were correct. Hello, second graders, we are done, and here's a challenge problem for you to take with you. Think about you and a grandparent. Here's an example. My son is 15 and his grandma's 74. How many years between them? Does the constant difference still work? What about when he's 17 and she is 76? How old will his grandma be when he's 23? I hope that you have enjoyed learning with us. Tune in next time for more learning at the Keep Learning series with KSPS.